right, this is our gunsmithing building. And we trace the evolution of firearms from the first type of handheld cannon to through the wheel locks. This is a wheel lock here, this section here, and the man in armor plate is carrying a wheel lock. This is what the Spanish brought over to defeat the Aztecs. And we have there's a mixture of some of these guns. We have some from the Revolution, some from the Civil War. We also have the tooling and workbench there. It's kind of cluttered right now, but we have a mortising machine. Well, notice the feet on this mortising machine. You step on the level, the pedal there, and it would bring this chisel bit down through and make a slot in the stock. So you could fit it up into the action of the gun. So very artistic. The old timers, functional art they like. Here, of course, is the drill press. And we have various tools hanging on the wall. This machine here is called a metal shaper. Now, we're not quite finished with this, but it will eventually be done with a line shaft. So one engine will power this line shaft, and have different belts going to the various functional machines. And this was a shaper where this arm had a cutter bit in it, and it would slide back and forth and shave off the unwanted metal. And you'd work to the line you had marked out on it. And this is a power hammer. It's the same thing as the blacksmith, but this was done by power. This was a homemade one, and it would hammer the metal. That way you could use both hands to getting the hot metal out of the forge, and then you could hammer the metal. And there's various flintlocks up in this area. And then we have a trapper here. These three guns up here, along with the snowshoes and the traps and so forth, were trappers' guns. Then we have the rifling machine here on the wall, along with the deep hole drills and the broaches for rifling it. The twist inside the barrel was called a rifling, and just like throwing a football. If you just lobbed one, it'd tumble, it wouldn't be very accurate. But if you do a spiral throw, it's more accurate. Same way with a bullet. And then there's a couple of lathes on this wall and some other hand tools to work. These guns were called percussion guns, which mostly were used during the Civil War. Cartridge guns did come into being during the Civil War, a lot of experimentation, and we have that represented as well. So here we have another lathe. Let's switch to this side here, and we see a lot of Civil War guns, a lot of experimentation, different types. They wanted to increase the firepower of the military, so they would try and make cylinders on there to hold more rounds, so they didn't have to load every time after every shot. So, but sometimes these, if I could show an example here with this funny-looking Cochrane turret rifle. Sometimes they were supposed to do powder and ball back in here and then a cap underneath to ignite it, but they were supposed to grease it off after they put powder and ball down there. But sometimes when they fired it, the flash out of here would ignite the other ones that had maybe not been greased as well, and this particular type of weapon, when it was tested, it wounded several of the bystanders that were there for the test, and obviously it failed. And that's why some of the pictures we see of Civil War soldiers are missing a hand or a forearm, because when they were holding it up there, if it chained or simultaneously fired like that, it would cause injury there and need to be amputated. So over here we have various things. Obviously another work in progress. We have work yet to do. We have a fan display of the Colt Pistols up there, the advancement of the Colts, one of the most famous pistol makers. And of course the gun display represents the Second Amendment. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. The government realized that the people had to have the right to defend themselves against a tyrannical government. That was the main reason for the Second Amendment. And a lot of the states back then, or the colonies, the 13 colonies, would not sign the Constitution until it had that Bill of Rights. So the Second Amendment is in great danger today in 2020. People want to take our guns away. And so this is a reminder that if you're a gun owner, you have to act responsibly and to keep our freedom. And we also need to be alert to vote people in that would preserve that right to keep and bear arms. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to the Miracle of America Museum.